Hey there, I'm DPadGamer, and it's that time of year again. As Halloween draws near, I set my sights on some spooky games, starting with some glitches in Metroid Prime. It's not actually that spooky, but it should be fun. Also, just so you know, the footage you'll see was played on the 1.0 North American GameCube version of the game. Future versions patched out a lot of the glitches you'll be seeing, so I thought I'd let you know. Now, onto the video. Our glitchy adventure begins right after Samus has landed on Talon 4. Rather than progressing forward to the Chozo ruins, we can actually obtain the space boots as our first upgrade. To do that, we'll need to perform a scan jump. Like the name suggests, you'll perform a side jump while using the scan visor, which results in some serious momentum. From on top of her ship, next to the right thruster, Samus needs to lock onto this tree thing. You want to move the analog stick to the right while pressing B twice in rapid succession. Make sure you let go of the L button immediately after the second B press. The result is that the side dash converts into a bunch of horizontal momentum, but the momentum immediately ends if you continue holding Alt, which is why that part is important. This glitch allows us to walk right through the door to collect the space boots early, opening up a lot of sequence breaking options later on. Scan jumps are a vital part of any Metroid Prime speedrun, and you'll be seeing a lot more of that as this video goes on. Now we can move on to the Chozo ruins, where having a double jump early allows us to collect a missile expansion before the missile launcher. After clearing out any enemies, walk up to this side of the half-pipe and perform a ghetto jump. That's the name for the technique of aiming down, locking your aim with L, and then jumping once against the wall, and a second jump just barely away from the wall. The result is that Samus gains more height than two normal space jumps, which allows you to get up here. Samus can now use missiles, finding more ammo from the usual sources. That means you never have to go fight the Hive Mecha, which is pretty nice. Using the missiles, we can now go straight to the Ruined Shrine where you're supposed to fight some beetles for the Morph Ball upgrade. Instead, just use your handy double jump to jump right over that wall. With your new upgrade in hand or suit, jump right back over and you're out. Moving back to the main plaza, position yourself on this tree root and perform a scan double jump to the left. That's a normal scan jump with an additional jump halfway through to nab an early energy tank. It's not necessary, but it's more or less free. Now it's possible to perform a curved scan double jump. I'm pretty sure that's not the actual name, but it sounds nice. From this bridge, use this thing to initiate the scan jump, and use the analog stick to look to the right, which should curve your momentum enough to land by this missile tank. Just keep in mind that if you completely scan the target, it makes performing the scan jump much more difficult to pull off. So now that we have these missiles, here is a neat trick. Usually, if you repeatedly press the Y button to shoot a missile, it'll take a while between shots. Samus has to reload her hand cannon or whatever. Instead, you can rapid fire missiles by pressing Y, then A, then Y, then A, repeat. Pressing A returns the blaster to normal operation, which seems to reset the missile shooting capabilities, so with the right timing, you can waste all your missiles really quickly. Now with the Morph Ball and missiles in hand, we could head off to the glorified Piranha Plant boss fight, but instead, buckle in kiddos, we're going to go on an out-of-bounds adventure, starting in the Gathering Hall and ending in the collection of the Ice Beam early. This will be our path. We'll begin in Gathering Hall, get out of bounds, then move across the East Atrium, Energy Core Access, the Energy Core, West Furnace Access, the Furnace, East Furnace Access, and then finally moving from the Hall of Elders back in bounds in the Reflecting Pool Access Tunnel. From there it'll be a jaunty walk through the Reflecting Pool and a get a jump up to the Antechamber. With that path in mind, which sounds very easy, now onto the actual execution, which, I should point out, will be the stitched together result of about 2 hours of slow progress. First, get over onto this ledge. Lock your aim down, then ghetto jump up to this spot. This gets Samus out of bounds, so jump along the wall and at a certain point, like in most rooms, you'll be on top of the room itself. Whenever this happens, just use the Morph Ball to drop you back down. Now, the transition. In this case, the next room can be loaded by standing on the door itself and inching forward. If you ever find yourself stuck trying to move across the ceiling, all you gotta do is Morph Ball, use a blast to jump yourself up, and then go forward while also unmorphing, which should return Samus to normal operations. Moving into Energy Core Access, we see an instance of a partially loaded room. Everything is there except the doorway, which we actually really need. We can probably load the room by shooting the entrance doorway. follow this path across the energy core, which includes dropping onto the doorway, then besides it on the right side. This loads in the next room, but there's no textures being displayed. Take a small leap of faith forward, which should reveal the West Furnace access tunnel. Again, this transition requires us to blast the door, and jumping against the untextured room will reveal it. In the furnace room, the goal is to jump onto the edge of the morph ball maze, then turn around, then double jump towards the previous tunnel. Now, Samus is on an invisible plane, which can be used to circle around the entire room. Just don't go too close to the room because it does stop at a certain point. When you near the ice beam door, it's hard to describe, but just follow what I do here. Falling between the pipe and wall makes for a safe descent, then turning to the left makes for a nice alignment with the door. A little bit of wiggling on the door will convince the next room to appear, and then match what I do. For some reason, moving to this particular spot will load the next room reliably, and shooting will confirm it. Jump forward and turn to the left and you should land right next to the door. Now a bit more wiggling will reveal the Hall of Elders. From on top of the tunnel, looking into the hall, follow this path around the outside. I ended up a bit higher than I wanted, so I used the morph ball to drop back down. I've seen different, safer methods of getting back in bounds here, but this worked for me. Shoot the bottom of the door, which should activate it. Now double jump into the invisible tunnel, and if your aim and timing is correct, voila! You're in, but the textures will disappear, so just move towards the door and you're good. Congratulations, the worst is now behind us. Now jump onto the Space Toad, then perform a ghetto jump against the metal pillar, and there you go. The ice cube gun early. Now that we've completed that bizarre adventure, it's time to tackle the Flagger boss fight. Since we have our fancy double jump early, it's actually possible to hop over the Barricade of Thorns. You'll still take damage, so be careful. Instead of deactivating each solar reflector, you can actually double jump as seen here, morph ball, and then blast the morph ball slot from the outside. Just be warned that doing this seems to cause Petey Piranha's cousin to slash at Samus, even during a cutscene.
Take this, luggage skin!
With those tips in mind, you should make quick work of this boss and the very suit will be yours. Moving on, we can actually go all the way to this room, where you're going to be rewarded with an energy tank. Beyond the door is the missile launcher upgrade, so be sure to grab it. Despite collecting things out of order, this will still increase the capacity by 5. If you turn and leave, you're good to go. If you instead move farther into this room, you'll be forced to fight the Hive boss even though you've collected the reward. Over in Magmore Caverns, we can collect a Chozo artifact early using another scan jump. Normally you'd have to use the boost power to raise a nearby bridge. Hop onto this computer terminal and scan lock onto this puffer and scan jump to the left. Along with your space jump, it should be an easy leap, and now you have a snazzy strength Chozo artifact. Until now, we've jumped really far, destroyed a potted plant, and traveled beyond reality itself to get a gun that shoots ice cubes. Now it's time for me to show you how to access infinite speed. Kinda. Infinite speed is the name of a glitch that can be formed by getting the morph ball stuck and charging up speed for like 50 seconds or so. I'm sure there's a parallel universe joke to be made there somewhere. One useful example of the infinite speed glitch can be performed in the magma pool room in the Chozo ruins, assuming you've collected the boost ability. Oh, and by the way, this will most likely crash your game, so save first. Move Samus between the wall and containers where, if you enter ball form, you should be stuck in place. Now move the analog stick in a direction, and if you see Samus rolling fast, then slowing to a stop, that's the ticket. Once that happens, hold that direction for a while. Eventually, you should see the morph ball be replaced with the discount Sonic Spin Dash. That is infinite speed, and it's magical. If you boost into this wall, as seen here, you can actually collect the morph ball bombs early, even though they were behind a wall on the other side of the room. Don't question the speed force, just embrace it. With that power in hand, if you try to uncurl, your game will probably crash. That's okay, because it's actually possible to travel all the way to the elevator down to the Talon overworld, which returns Samus to normal during a cutscene. That is safe. Using the power bombs you got early, you can actually grab the ice spreader in the shore tunnel, which is pretty boring. So instead, use infinite speed again. The process of finding the angle is the same, but you'll have to get Samus stuck using the doorway. From the transport tunnel, inch forward through the door into the monitor station without having the map change focus. It's hard to describe, but it makes sense with a bit of practice. Assuming you've snuck your way in and Morph Ball, you should be stuck. Find the angle, which I won't even pretend to understand how to get, I just tried for a while. Once you've unlocked infinite speed, things get weirder. Boosting should detach Samus from the wall, or it could teleport you into lava with a black screen. Who knows? Assuming you don't die instantly, move across the bridge and fall down under the main building. Again, I don't quite understand why this works, but you want to boost somewhere towards the middle, which should teleport Samus and boost again. Assuming this voodoo magic worked, you'll be rewarded with the ice spreader. Yeah, we somehow teleported over to the shore tunnel and right into the upgrade. I know there's a lot of uncertainty coming from me here, but this is such a cool glitch, I had to share it. Back to something practical, you can actually skip the spider ball track in the Fire Twins tunnel. You could use a neat looking R jump, which I couldn't replicate, or another scan jump from up here on this ledge using the spider ball scan target. You can actually go to the geothermal core and collect the plasma beam again without the spider ball. In this room, start off by hopping onto this rock and use a measured double jump onto this vent thing, and then hop onto this stalagmite. From here, you can actually get onto the pillar and raise the rotating platforms like usual. Once you reach this pillar requiring the spider ball, jump once to get halfway up, then perform a ghetto jump to clear the rest. Now, a morph ball slot will reveal a huge spider ball track maze that luckily we can just skip with a couple jumps. Double jump over to this outer ring, then double jump onto this bit of track. It might take a bit to get up there properly, but when you do, it's a hop, skip, and a jump over to the door. Head through and you'll find a brand new plasma beam ready to shoot molten pizza sauce at whatever you want. So there is actually a way to collect the Artifact of Elder in Phendrana Drift's control tower without the plasma beam. I know this bit is out of order, but the video is almost over and I really wanted to include this bit. So normally, you need to use the plasma beam to melt an ice window, then shoot a missile over to the weak point. Instead, hop up onto this pile of crates and get ready for an odd shot. There's an invisible energy barrier above the wall that's supposed to prevent this kind of grade A cheese. Well, if you aim right about here, lock your aim, jump, then jump as you let go of your lock, a missile can be shot just barely over the energy barrier. No doubt this will take some attempts, but you're only limited by your patience and ammo count. When it finally works, congratulations, you have yourself a nice artifact. So finally, our glitchy adventure through Metroid Prime brings us to the boss fight that people actually care about, Meta Ridley vs Samus Aran. In the GameCube version of this game, it's actually possible to exploit a glitch, which makes this fight like super easy. So start it out like normal. Use some charged shots to damage him enough to start Ridley's bombing runs. After that he'll land, ready for some fisticuffs. I'm not even sure how to describe it, but just boost into him a few times and his health should plummet to about 25%, taking him directly into his no-fly zone. That shouldn't happen, but it does. If you've been following along, at this point you're nearing the end of the game, and, as well, the end of the video. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed this one. It took me a bit longer to make this video than it was supposed to, but hopefully it was worth the wait. If it was, be sure to leave a like, comment, and maybe subscribe for more videos from me. I have at least one more Spooktober kind of video coming, and then Mario Odyssey will be here. So I hope you look forward to that. And I'll see you then. Goodbye.